I think that the FTX scenario is kind of hopefully the worst is over now type scenario where we don't see anything as big as FTX coming forth. But now it's more of, okay, well, if the stock market declines, do people panic and sell their crypto anyways? And that what drives it down. The only way for me to really start to get semi-bullish on Bitcoin is if we were to eclipse that high.
Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Talk Crypto. Crypto markets have been rallying for the past week, with Bitcoin breaking a short-term downtrend and getting near the 21,000 region. Investors are cautious but excited, in anticipation of the recovery of the markets in 2023 and the next bull run in 2024. In today's video, we have pro trader Gareth Soloway talking about Bitcoin, the macro conditions and what to look forward to in 2023. If you've been following Gareth, he's been right about a lot of the calls he made in the past. Just a few days ago, in his last interview, Gareth was expecting a quick pump in Bitcoin's price to the 18K level before the next drop, and here we are today with Bitcoin trading around $20,800. So let's pay close attention to Gareth as he shares his outlook for 2023, what Bitcoin levels he's watching, and how you should prepare for the upcoming months. But before we do, please consider subscribing to our channel, as we bring you daily content on the latest crypto news. And now, let's jump right into the video.
Yeah, so a beautiful little move here. And again, this is something that usually happens, and I'll share my screen here. But one of the things that I do in the stock trading game is always look for January effect plays. And basically what happens in January is anyone who was going to sell an asset to take a tax loss or offset gains does that in December, right? So once you get to January, it takes a lot of the selling pressure away from assets, and that includes stocks and cryptocurrencies. And so I think going into January, I was kind of expecting this little bounce here. Again, I say little because Bitcoin, again, 16,000 to 18,800, not the biggest move in history of Bitcoin. But to me right now, it still hasn't proved itself, right? So it's a great move. You could see this downsloping trend line right here. We finally broke above it. That kind of kick-started the rally in early January. We're now kind of kissing this little underbelly of this chop here. For me, the biggest thing that I'm paying attention to is this fall, right? So you had this big fall, which was the FTX collapse. That would be the only way for me to really start to get semi-bullish on Bitcoin is if we were to eclipse that high. And that's a very psychological thing, right? So you've had so many people damaged by FTX. The whole crypto space, you could argue, got damaged by FTX. And so if price were to trade above that, psychologically, that would be a big relief to investors, and I think that would draw in a lot of new money. So right now, I look at this as a bear market rally. It's still inside of that move. Just to do one thing here that's kind of cool, we'll do a parallel trend line. And if we stretch this line here and then stretch it up, look at that. See this high right here, and then look at where we just kissed right there. And so this is stuck inside of what we would consider a bear flag, or in spirit of bear flag. So yeah, at least at this point, I'm in the position of thinking that it's a great move, but I would recommend for myself selling into this up move.
In his market analysis, Gareth usually pays a lot of attention to the stock market, the US dollar and the economic data, to get a bigger picture of what's going on in the markets, overall. So what are his takeaways from the CPI data that came out last Friday?
Yeah, so I mean, CPI basically came in alignment with expectations. And so the market was really weird. Initially, it dumped out, and then it reversed on the S&P, and then we've kind of been just chopping around slightly positive the entire day. And I think the takeaway is, yes, inflation came down. It was in line with expectations. But the reason why we're not seeing either a big up day or the big down day is because I don't think it changes anything. The Fed is still going to hike rates the next time they meet, probably 25 basis points. And there's still kind of a lot of question marks for the stock market right now about earnings, right? And so we know the economy is starting to slow a little bit. A lot of, analysts are saying that earnings revisions have to come down. They have to come down, which then is negative for the stock market as valuations apparently are still too high. And so, it's an interesting situation where the S&P is up today. Crypto's up today. We've seen a 4-day run up on the stock market. Basically, that coincides with the run up on crypto. So you are seeing this continued kind of connection with risk assets going up together. And really, to be honest, that's my biggest fear for crypto. I think that the FTX scenario is kind of hopefully the worst is over now type scenario where we don't see anything as big as FTX coming forth. But now it's more of, okay, well, if the stock market declines, do people panic and sell their crypto anyways? And is that what drives it down? So that's kind of what I'm looking at this point.
With Bitcoin still being tied to the stock market, Gareth is worried about the S&P 500, which is hanging on by a thread. He's been predicting a drop still to come, of up to 25%. Let's look at the charts and what they're showing right now.
Take a look here. So look at what we've done. So you had this drop, which was right off this trend line. And then look today, we filled a gap and we went right to that line. And this is, again, a bigger downtrend trend line on the S&P 500. So I'm in the position where I'm actually short the S&P 500. I'm not short crypto. I want to be clear on that. Anytime something falls 70% from its highs, you're not going to catch me shorting at the lows anymore. Just like you shouldn't have been buying Bitcoin at 60, 65,000 at the highs. But it's more of staying away and maybe taking profits on some of these moves in crypto because you're worried about the stock market having another big rollover to it. So that's my expectation. I think the S&P is going to be down 25% in 2023. I think crypto will drop probably towards 9,000 before it's all said and done. But then by end of year, probably recover towards 20 again. So I think there's going to be this changeover where you go from a risk asset being crypto to where it becomes a store of safety in the second half of the year once we get that transparency, hopefully from regulation.
Gareth says regulation will play an important part in the recovery of the crypto market, but the reality is, no one can say for sure what's going to happen this year, especially with the macro conditions not being the best for risk assets. We still have a war going on in Europe, supply chains under great stress, an energy crisis, prices skyrocketing with inflation still not under control, and the Fed's rate hikes putting pressure in the economy. Don't get me wrong, but it's kinda scary out there. Many investors are choosing to put their investments on hold, engaging in a wait-and-see game, while others are taking advantage of the bargain prices and stacking up for the future. How are you preparing for the future in this uncertain economy? Are you in the market? Or just waiting on the sidelines? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give us a like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. This is Let's Talk Crypto, and we'll see you in the next video.